Stuck in the Snow, For Whom the Bell Tolled, by Bevie. Snow piled around my ankles. I lifted my right rain-booted foot to take a step forward, and then my left. But the snow was falling so hard now that I could no longer move forward, nor could I turn around and go back. I kind of didn't want to, because I had been stilled in my tracks by the bell. The only one out there. The rest of the kids had made it up the snow-covered hill to the school 15 minutes earlier. Why, just the day before, I had been harshly admonished by my school principal that my next tardy would result in corporal punishment. Big words for being spanked by my teacher with a wooden paddle board with 3 to 4 holes down the center, then sent to the principal's office for a further lashing across my bottom with a razor strap he kept behind his office door. Not to stop there. It also meant that I could expect the same or equal punishment by my parents when I returned home, as they would have learned of this infraction by the school staff hours earlier. So, when I heard the bell ring, I knew without a doubt that it was 8:15 and I was late again. The morning's objective was to get up, get dressed, get fed, get out of the house, headed for school before hearing the opening music to Captain Kangaroo's children's TV show. Starting promptly at 8 a.m., his theme music signaled the beginning of the show. Leaving after that time could be disastrous, unless one could sprint up the hill within 15 minutes. The bigger kids could do that if there were no other contingencies along the way. But the little ones needed much more time. Indeed, I heard Captain Kangaroo's theme music that morning. To make matters worse, my father had arrived home the day before for a few days of shore leave. I imagined he would be in no mood to have his brief visit with my mother interrupted by a silly little matter of me being late for school when I didn't need to be. I could think of nothing else I could do but wait to be rescued by one of our neighbors before I froze to death. But I almost preferred this to the anticipated wrath of my father when he would learn what had happened. I must have borne an uncanny resemblance to one of Santa's little helpers as I stood out there in my red coat, my red rain boots, my red hat, and my red nose. White snow caked around my face and clothes, and icicles were about to form at the hem of my coat. Each passing minute brought a fresh batch of trembles. For as much as the cold, fear was starting to settle in my bones. I felt completely and utterly stuck now. Too cold to use my voice, and too far away from the nearest neighbor to be heard should I have cried out. I began to stiffen. Thank goodness I wore red. Surely that made it possible to be seen more quickly than if I had not. Finally, a neighbor, young Miss Lake, spotted me and called out, "Bevie, is that you out there, girl? You gonna catch your death standing out there in that freezing snow? I'm gonna call Miss Martha right now to come and get you and take you home. Hear me?" Miss Martha, my mother, wasn't the one who showed up 5 minutes later. It was my father instead. He drove his car out to pick me up. He got out of the car and gently lifted me up out of the snow and put me inside. To my pleasant surprise and utter delight, he was kind and caring. My father drove me home and never spoke a harsh word about that incident that day or any day forward. I thawed out over a cup of hot chocolate he and my mother made for me. The last thing I remember before curling up to sleep, snuggled in a nice warm blanket, was Captain Kangaroo's theme music as he and Mr. Green Jeans wound up the last segment of his show.